It was supposed to be an ordinary Monday morning. The coffee shop was buzzing with the usual pre-work crowd. Phones rang, orders were shouted, and the smell of fresh espresso lingered in the air. At the front of the line stood Ava Sinclair, a woman in her early 30s, dressed in a tailored black pantsuit, her hair in a perfect low bun. She was a powerhouse, the youngest female CEO of a top tech firm in the city. To the world, she was untouchable, sharp, and intimidating. But that morning, something happened that cracked that perfect image. "Sorry, ma'am. Your card, it's been declined," the barista said quietly, glancing nervously at the growing line behind her. For a moment, the room froze. Ava's stomach dropped. She could feel the weight of dozens of eyes on her expensive suit. She tried again, another card, then another. Each one failed. The whispers started. A few customers snickered. Ava, who had built an empire, suddenly felt small. Powerless. "Don't worry, I've got it," a warm voice said from behind her. She turned around and saw him, Daniel Carter, a ruggedly handsome man in his mid-30s, wearing a worn leather jacket, holding the hand of a little girl with pigtails. He smiled kindly and placed a few crumpled bills on the counter. "It's just coffee," he said casually. But to Ava, it felt like so much more. Ava grabbed her coffee and muttered a stiff thank you, eager to escape. She hated feeling indebted to anyone. She was Ava Sinclair, she didn't need saving. Outside, Daniel caught up with her. "Hey," he said gently, "no big deal. Just coffee. You okay?" She wanted to snap at him, but something in his calm, unbothered tone disarmed her. His little girl peeked from behind his leg and waved shyly. Ava's phone buzzed with dozens of alerts: company shares were down, accounts frozen, media calling for a statement. Overnight, a major financial scandal had erupted, and her name was all over it. This was the worst possible morning of her life. 2 days later, Ava returned to the same café, wearing sunglasses and looking far less put together. To her surprise, Daniel was there again, reading a newspaper while his daughter drew pictures with crayons. "Hi," he said warmly. "You look like you could use a refill." She hesitated, then sat down. "I owe you coffee," she said. "You don't owe me anything," he replied. "But you look like you need someone to talk to." At first, Ava stayed guarded, but Daniel had a quiet patience about him. He didn't ask invasive questions. He didn't seem impressed by who she was or who she used to be. He just listened. Slowly, Ava told him the truth. The scandal, the frozen assets, the media storm. Her board was threatening to remove her as CEO. She was facing lawsuits, public humiliation, and the loss of everything she'd built. Daniel didn't pity her. "Sounds like a mess," he said honestly. "But you're still here, aren't you? You're still fighting. That's what matters." Over the next weeks, Ava's life became a war zone. Every morning brought new headlines tearing her apart. Protesters appeared outside her office building. Even friends she thought she could count on vanished. But every few days, she'd see Daniel and his daughter at the café. It became the one place she could breathe. She learned that Daniel was a single dad, raising Mia on his own after his wife passed away 3 years ago. He worked long hours as a mechanic and barely scraped by, but he never complained. "You know what saved me," he said one day as Mia colored at the table. "Showing up for someone else. Even when I was broken inside. Maybe that's what you need." Those words stuck with Ava. When the day of the board meeting arrived, Ava almost didn't go. She was tired, exhausted from fighting battles on every front. But then she remembered Mia's little voice saying, "You're pretty. Don't be sad." She walked into that boardroom, head high. "You want to replace me," she said to the board. "Fine. But not before I fix this. I owe that much to every employee who believed in me." For hours, she laid out a plan: a restructuring of finances, a strategy to win back investor trust, and a transparent investigation into what went wrong. When she walked out, her job was still hers, for now. Just when things seemed to be turning around, disaster struck for Daniel. One night, Mia was rushed to the hospital with severe pneumonia. Daniel was terrified. Hospital bills were already more than he could handle. Without hesitation, Ava stepped in. "Let me help," she said. "You've got your own problems," Daniel protested. "You helped me when you didn't have to," Ava replied softly. "Now it's my turn." She paid the bills and stayed with Mia until she was stable. Daniel saw a side of Ava the world didn't see: gentle, vulnerable, deeply caring. Months later, Ava's company made a remarkable comeback. The scandal was exposed as sabotage by a rival corporation, and Ava's reputation was cleared. But instead of returning to the cold, distant CEO she once was, Ava had changed. She started a foundation to help single parents and struggling families, inspired by Daniel and Mia. And slowly, her friendship with Daniel turned into something deeper. One quiet morning, Ava walked into the same café where it all began. Daniel and Mia were sitting in their usual spot. But this time, she wasn't wearing her CEO armor. She wore jeans, a simple blouse, and a nervous smile. "I have a question," she said, sitting across from Daniel. Daniel raised an eyebrow. "What's that? Would you let me buy you coffee for the rest of our lives?" Daniel's eyes widened. Then he laughed, a deep, warm laugh. "You're serious?" "As serious as a woman who had her card declined in front of you," she said with a grin. Mia clapped her hands. "Yay! Daddy likes coffee." And just like that, what started as a humiliating morning ended in the beginning of a love story that shocked everyone who thought they knew who Ava Sinclair was.